Hey, Ryan McCulloch here of NextGenerationMusicSessions.com. Are you not sure what the Phrygian scale is? Well, in today's video, I'm going to show you how to not suck when you play the Phrygian scale. No, that's not right. Here's what's really going to happen. I'm going to show you some things that you've never thought about when you use the Phrygian scale. I promise. As I've said in my previous videos, there are two ways to look at any mode. The first way is going to be the parallel method. So in this method, you're going to start on the same root, the same tonic. So let's just take E Phrygian, for example. You're going to start on E, and imagine you've got an E major scale. So E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C sharp, D sharp, E. And then you apply this formula to it. Lower scale degrees 2, 3, 6, and 7. And that will give you a scale that is E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E. The other method is what's known as the relative method. So to use the relative method, you need to know that the Phrygian scale is the third scale in a major scale, or comes from it starts on the third note in a major scale. So let's just take F sharp Phrygian, for example. If you want to figure out which notes are in an F sharp Phrygian scale, you need to ask yourself, in which scale is F sharp the third note? And this is a major scale, remember? And of course, you already know this, it's D major. So you're basically going to construct a D major scale starting on F sharp. So that would be F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D, E, and F sharp. Well, whoop-de-doo, Basil. What does it all mean anyway? It's a really great question. So just knowing the notes for a mode is not really going to get you close enough to start analyzing music or to even start writing music or improvising music using that mode. So in this case, the Phrygian mode. What will? What will indeed? Well, as you very well know, if you've been keeping up with my mode videos, link above to this playlist if you don't know what I'm talking about. So if you've been keeping up with these videos, I've been advocating knowing your tonic arpeggio for the given mode. So let's just take as an example, I don't know, a G Phrygian mode. Let's just take that as our example from here on out. So for G Phrygian, you have these notes: G, A flat, B flat, C, D, E flat, F, and G. Super easy. Well, what I'm saying is that you need to know to start out with your G minor arpeggio before you even know that entire scale. So be able to play the notes G, B flat, and D all over your guitar, or else you're dead. You're not really going to die. It's just guitar playing, for God's sakes. You see, there's a principle I'm trying to get you to understand here. And I think it's best explained using this metaphor. Imagine you're hungry. You're driving down the highway and you see this restaurant. You're in luck. And the restaurant is called something to the effect of Joe's Pizzeria, Sushi Bar, and Fried Chicken Shack. Are you going to stop there? Probably not, because they're trying to throw everything in the kitchen sink at any hungry person that walks through that place. So here's what I'm saying. If you want to play in G Phrygian, know your G minor triad, and then you need to know the other triad, the other pole in G Phrygian, and that is going to be something that involves A flat. Some chord that involves an A flat. Why A flat? Well, because, well, let me show you how I got here. So the first thing you want to figure out whenever you're trying to figure out the other triad in a mode, and in any particular mode, the first question you want to ask yourself is whether or not the mode is major or minor. That's the starting question. I can't do anything about it. This video on the Phrygian mode is getting a little intense. I think we should take a break. В сущности, одним из важнейших свойств рассматриваемого типа профессионального музыкального искусства как раз является то, что... Sorry, I didn't see you there. I'm catching up on my Lev Mazel. He's one of my favorites as a music theorist. Anyway, I'm a nerd. So, what I lost my train of thought. Back on it. We're on the Phrygian mode. Right, that's right. We're not talking about the analysis of music, not yet anyway. So, for the Phrygian mode, specifically for that other triad, what we're talking about is the flat 2 scale degree. So in this case, in G Phrygian, that's going to be your A flat, right? So any chord that uses an A flat, either as a root, a third, a fifth, or arguably a seventh, will make, and you obviously have it in a progression with G minor, it will sound like a G Phrygian progression. Great one, yeah. Yeah, so the most common way of constructing Phrygian chord progressions is going to be to make use of that flat 2 scale degree. So if you're in G Phrygian, that's going to be your A flat. So basically having a chord progression that goes from G minor to A flat major. And why? Because that A flat, that lowered scale degree 2, is what makes it sound like Phrygian and not like G natural minor. So some really great examples of this are Space Oddity. So it's not in G Phrygian, so that's in E Phrygian. And then you have songs like Wood by Alice in Chains, and a number of others. If you're into metal and into like older metal, like bands like Metallica and Slayer and things like that, the list gets pretty deep. So what I'd like to do now is to kind of transition, because I want you to rethink how the Phrygian scale is used in actual music. So here we go. Whoa, dude, is that smoke on the water? I didn't recognize it because it didn't sound like this. Huh, I wonder if we can find some information online about the Phrygian scale. Let's see. Yeah, so music theory will only get you so far, man. Really, it's just a trap. It's there to set up some arbitrary rules to make sure that you can't play the guitar. But look, man, I'm going to play, and I'm not thinking about the notes at all. See, I don't need any music theory. It just flows, man. That's my secret. You got to get into a state of flow. Yeah, that's probably one of my least favorite explanations whenever the topic of music theory comes up, particularly on social media. And normally the rebuttal is, something to the effect of, well, this guy's really good and he didn't use music theory because, art and music and bending rules. If you're a little bit more critical, you might understand what's going on with some of the notes and musicality behind the notes, right? And just because you know it doesn't mean you can't play it. You have to be a player and a thinker. That's what being a total musician's all about. At any rate, let me tell you what I think is going on here, which is the following. So Smoke on the Water is built off of this blues riff, so that opening riff that we all know and love, that's basically a G minor blues riff using fourths on the D and G strings. So it sets you up with this sound that is very bluesy. And when you get that 4 major chord, that C major chord in the chorus, it almost comes as no surprise. And the vocals, the melody, it sings that E natural right there. So there's the major third. It's right out in front of us, right? And then you have this A flat to G minor going back, right? So there indeed is a Phrygian progression, and basically my take on this is it is a Phrygian progression that's kind of embedded in the mix of this like quasi blues sounding progression, that 4 major to back to 1 minor. So that's what I think is going on. It's not super complicated, right? I guess you could start to really get into the weeds and ask questions like, so when does one progression supersede the other, right? So like, when does a Phrygian progression supersede a blues progression? Let's find the answer to that out right here. Right, so I'm actually not sure that that question will really get us very far as players. So always use your ears as your guide. But in this case, I think that, you know, because you have so much of that blues sound, I kind of feel like the Phrygian sound is almost this like kind of lowered afterthought, is my take on it. Now, this starts to get into some real music theory, into some very like kind of weedy situations. So I'm not going to get much further into it than that. But anyway, blues progression with some Phrygian stuff going on. So that concludes today's video on the Phrygian scale. If you thought I was slightly persnickety and a little bit snippy today, then you're going to want to check out my next video, because I'm going to go over my 2 favorite modes, the Ionian Mode and the Aeolian Mode. That's right, in the next video. I know you can't wait for it.